Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we will learn about type conversion and typecasting. And by type conversion and typecasting, I mean data type conversion and data type casting. So the first of all, the question is, what is a type conversion? Type conversion means which is done automatically by Java, that is intrinsic, or we can say that implicitly done. That means where the destination of the data type is larger than the source data type. Suppose I have to store the value of byte A, that is 20, into an integer data type. So it can be done implicitly if I have an integer variable. Let's take an example and see the difference. Go to Eclipse, create a file. I have created mine. First of all, we are learning about type conversion. So let's take a variable byte A, give it a value 100. Byte B, give it a value 100. So now I have taken two variables, byte A and byte B, both have a value of 100. But when we add this number, it will have a value larger than the size of byte. So now the question is, will byte contain such a large number above than its range, or I have to assign a different data type for the result. So first of all, let's check the result with the byte data type A plus B. See, it has given me an error that type mismatch cannot convert from int to byte. That means the value of the summation of A and B will exceed the limit of byte. So what I will do is, I will replace the byte with int, and see, the error has gone. So let's print the result and see I was right or wrong. See, I have got a result of 200. See, what I have done here is, I have taken two variables of byte data type and stored their output in another variable of integer data type. That is what is intrinsic, or we can say that type conversion, in which the values of byte has automatically been converted to a integer type of data type. We can have another example for the same. Let's take a value of byte C is equal to 101. Take an integer I, assign the value of C to it. Take another variable of float f and assign the value of integer I to float f. Now let's just print the statement. So what I have done here is, I have taken a variable C of byte data type, assigned the value of C to integer, and assigned the value of integer to float. Let's print the statements and check the result. See, I have got the result as the value of byte is 101, value of integer is 101, and value of float is 101. That means whatever value I was having, I will be getting the result in all the three data types. One important thing about type conversion is, there will be no data loss. So this will be all about the type conversion. So what is typecasting? Typecasting means assigning a value of one data type to a variable of another data type. Generally it is done from a larger data type to a smaller data type, where there is a chance of data loss. Let's take the example of the picture we are having right now. Suppose you have a jug full of water and an empty glass. Can you pour all the water from your jug in the glass? No, it can't be done. There will be a loss of water. Similarly, in typecasting, when you change the data type of a variable from a higher one to a lower one, there is a chance of data loss. So let's have a look. Typecasting. So the first point is that it is done explicitly. That means Java don't do it automatically. You have to forcefully convert from one data type to another. The second point is, destination data type can be smaller than the source data type. That means our source data type can be a double, but our destination can be a byte or short. The third one is chances of data loss. Similarly, like he or she is packing a bag, there is a potential chance that it will not be locked until or unless something is removed from the bag. So let's take a practical example and have a look at the typecasting. Go to your Eclipse. For typecasting, what you have to do is, take a double data type, let it be D, assign a value 200.5. okay. So what I have done here is, I have taken a variable of double data type and let us convert it into a integer data type, int. Let it be int variable is equal to, we have to convert it into int, so place a bracket, int. Which variable we have to convert? We have to convert the double variable D. So we will write D, enter the semicolon, and it will be done. So let's print out the statement and see the output. So I have given a print statement to print the output. Let's see the output. See, value of typecasted integer var is 200. What it had done is, it has eliminated our 0.5 because integer does not contain any decimal number. Let's print our double D variable to check if I am right or wrong. See, value of double D is 200.5, but the value of typecasted integer variable is 200. Why is it so? Because we have explicitly converted the decimal point number, that is our double, into a integral number. that is without decimal number. So now let's take a tricky example and I will explain you how to calculate the output, because if you are using it for the first time it will be a bit tricky for you to know the output. So let's take another example. Let's take a variable int, take another variable of byte, let's convert it into a byte. So I have to convert the variable 2 into a byte. So let's check the output first. I forgot to mention the print command. So let's write the print command. Let's execute the command. See, we have got a output of -56. And how is it so? Can anyone tell me how I am getting a output of -56 instead of any positive integer? I have not given any negative value over here. I have taken an integer variable. I have given a value of 200, but I am getting a negative output. And how is it so? So you don't know? Let me explain you this. As I have told you, byte has a range of -128 to 127. We have taken an integer variable whose value is 200, but byte can have a range of -128 to 127 only. So 200 is larger than 127. So what it will do is, it will first subtract 128 from 200. We will get an output of 72. So we have checked the range of byte from 0 to 127. That is, we have subtracted 128. Now what it will do is, it will go on the negative side. So we have a range of -128. So in next step, what it will do is, it will subtract 72 from 128. Let's subtract 72 from 128. We will get an output of 56. So we will get our output as -56. Similarly, you can check it on any of the data types. I hope you have fully understood about the type conversion and typecasting. There will be a lot of things coming on, but if you find any doubt, you can always ask me. So that will be all for this lecture. In this tutorial, we will learn about how to import package and taking input from user at runtime. So let's move on and check our first question. So the first question is, what is package? A package is a namespace that organizes a set of related classes and interface. So what does that mean? That means a package is nothing but a collection of a bundle of classes and interfaces. You know what is classes? Let me give you a brief about the interface. An interface is considered as a blueprint for a class. That means it has some static constant and abstract methods only. So what does that mean? That means interface is something that looks like a class, but in that we have static constant variables and abstract methods only. That means the methods can only be declared in that part. Method will not contain any body. So why it is used? It is used to achieve fully abstraction. This is a brief about the interface. I will tell you more about the interface in our later tutorials when we will be discussing about the interfaces and inheritance. So let's move on with the package now. As you can see in the example, I have first written the java.lang, that means java.language. It is a by default package which is being imported to your program every time. So what does this package contain? It bundles the fundamental classes. So what are the fundamental classes? Suppose you have created this program. So it contains something called public, class, static, int, system, out, println. These are the keywords in this class. So all these keywords are the instance of some class. So the definition of those instance and those class are stored in that package. So what java.lang package contain is the basic fundamental classes which are necessary and are used in your every program. Our another package is java.io, which contains the classes for input and output functions. You can bundle your own package with the classes and interfaces you create. So how can you bundle the classes? Let me tell you the same with a practical example. See, as you can see in our package explorer, while we were creating different files, all the files were by default getting stored in a default package. So actually what happening here is, whatever file we are gonna create or whatever file we are creating, it's by default getting stored in a package. So you are by default storing all your classes in a package. You can import that package anywhere you want and use that package there. So these are the basic things you need to know about the package. Let's move on and see how to import packages. Till now we haven't imported any package in our program. So if you want to import a package, so what you need to do is, you have to write import and then the package name. Let's try it out and import the java.util.scanner package. You can either write it this way or you can also write it this way. In the first one, what it will do is, it will only import java.util.scanner class. But if you import by second method, what it will do is, it will import each and every class under util package. So you can write both of these, both will work the same way. but it's a better practice to write and invoke the one which you need. So what you need to do is create a program. I named it importing package and taking input. So let's import a package. It will be the same as I have written over there, java.util.scanner class. See, Java is in small, util is in small, and the S is capital in scanner. Because scanner is a class, so S is in capital. So you have to be specific while writing this. See, we have successfully imported our first Java package. Many of you might have used header files in C and C++. So importing package is something similar to importing a header file in C and C++ language. So let's move on and see what we can achieve with this package. So now the question arises, what is a scanner class? So scanner class is something that breaks the input into tokens using white spaces. So let's see what that means. Suppose you are writing a line like you have a vacation tomorrow. So what is you? It's a word. Then there is a white space, that is your space bar. Then there is a word, then there is again a white space, and it will go on till the end of the statement. So what we have here is a word, a white space, then a word till the end of the statement. So what java.scanner class do is it breaks your input into tokens. Tokens are nothing but the smallest individual unit that form part of a Java program, and default delimiter, that is a white space. Delimiter means over here is the thing that separates one token from other. So for this example, you can suppose you as a token, then a white space, then have is a token, and so on. It will move on to the end of the statement. So this will be all about the scanner class. Let's have a brief look at the methods which we can use in the scanner class. So these are the few methods which we will be using in our program right now. So let's check it out practically, and then you can try it on one by one by yourself. So in the very first step, what you need to do is, as I have told you, scanner is a class and these are its method. So if I have to use any of the method, I have to create an object for that. So let's move on and check it out. Let's create an object. You can name the object whatever you want. I am creating a new instance of an object. So I will be writing new, then again scanner class. What I need to do is I have to take the input. So I will be calling in a system.in. See, what I have done till here is I have created an instance of an object of scanner class. And in between that, what I have written is system.in. That is to take the input. So let's move on and take an input from user. So what I have done here is I have given a print command to print a line. Then I have declared a variable and have assigned the value that I will be getting from the user at runtime to the variable. So for taking input from the user, you have to call the function via an object. So what next int will do is it will scan the next integer input as a token from the user and assign that value to our variable. Let's print out the statement and check it for ourselves. See, down in the console window you can see it has printed the first line and is now waiting for the response from the user. So what I will do is I will give a value like 250 and press enter. It will come to the next line and execute the same. So whatever value you are going to give at the runtime, you will get the same as the out. So this is how you can use your scanner class. Now let's check the other few methods. As you can see, next byte, short, long, float, double, all are same as next int. So you can try it by yourself. I will tell you about the public string next. That means it will return the next token from the scanner. So whatever you have written, it will return the first word. So let's check it out. Copy paste. See, in place of integer, now we are using a string. There is a potential difference between int and string, that int, byte, long, all are data types. Either you are using char, bool, float, all are data types. But string here is our class. But Java has provided with the feature that we can use it as a data type. It's first asking me about the integer value. So I will be giving it 2501. Now it's asking me about the name or a string value. So what I will do is I will write two words, hello user, but it will just print the first one, hello. Why? Because it will give the first token which came into picture. Hello is our first word, that is our first token. Then there is a separation, that is delimiter, white space, and then there is second word. So it will just print the first word and it will terminate the program. So now let's check the last method. The last one is the next line. What it will do is it will move the scanner position to the next line and return the value as a string. That means whatever input I will be giving at the runtime, it will return the whole string. Let's execute the command and see. See, what I have done here is I have written hello user, welcome to Java tutorials. Press enter and see the output. Hello user, welcome to Java tutorials. So whatever string I will write, it will parse the whole string and will return the same for me. So this will be all for this tutorial. In this tutorial we have learned about packages, importing packages, taking input from user at runtime, and how to use the different methods to take different type of inputs. In this tutorial, we will be looking at the control statements. That what is a control statement, what are the relational operators, conditional statement, and afterwards we will conclude the tutorials with the control flow statement. So let's move on with the first question. Our first question is, what is a control statement? So all the programs which we have made till now were in the sequential flow. You can consider any of the program we have made till now. All the programs were executed step by step. But in a control flow statement, what we can do is we can manipulate the sequence of the flow. That is, if we mention a condition between the flow of the execution, if the condition is met or not, it will change the flow of execution. So before starting control statement, let's have a look at the relational operators. These are the different type of relational operator. I think you must have learned about this in your junior or high classes. So these are the same as greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. So these are the relational operators which we will be using in our control statements. So let's move on with our first topic, that is decision making statement. In this we will be studying about if statement, if else, nested if else, switch case. I will not be taking all of these in a single tutorial. I will divide it into further tutorials. So let's start with the if statement first. If statement executes the block of code only if the condition is true. As you can see in the syntax, if there is a boolean expression, that is our condition, then there is a block of statement. So that means if we mention a condition in this boolean expression, and if it is met, and if the condition is true, then and only then the statement within that block will be executed. Else it will exit and follow on with the other statements. So let's create a program and see it for ourselves. Go to your Eclipse, create a program. I have created mine. So let's just take an easy example to start with. So let's ask Tom about his age. We can't ask the girl about their age because they stop aging after 22. So if you want the real output, you have to ask a boy. So let's ask Tom. See if you want to learn Java programming or any of the programming language. The one thing you must do is practicing. If you can keep up with the practice, there is nothing which is gonna stop you from being a good programmer. See, what I have done is I have created a scanner class object. I have asked Tom about his age. Let's take the input. Input age is equal to, we will call that object, and we will be taking an integer input. So I will be calling an integer function. So now let's put the condition. I know the age of Tom is 30. So I have given a condition that if age is equal to 30, then print Tom is telling his right age. So this is our boolean expression. It can only be true or false. And at last I have given a statement that doesn't belong to the condition. So let's execute the program and see the output first. See, down in the console window you can see it's asking Tom, what's your age? So let's put the right age first, 30. Press enter. See, we have got the output as Tom is telling the right age. That means when the input was 30 and it met the condition, that is true, then it entered the block of statement and printed the statement. Then it exited the block of code and printed the last statement. That is our system.out.println. Thanks Tom for your input. So we got this output because our condition was met. So what will happen if our condition is not met? So let's execute the program again. It's again asking for the age. Let's enter 25. See, it has not entered the block of code and printed the last statement that thanks Tom for your input. So now let's just debug this program and see the sequence of flow. Go to top right corner of your window. There is Java, then there is Java EE, then there is a button that is open perspective. Click on that, find the debug, click on debug perspective, click on OK. See, the format of the window has changed from the Java view to the debug view. So in this, what we can do is we can check our execution of program step by step. So let's have a look first what those windows are. On the top left corner you can see the debug view. On the right corner you can see the variables and the breakpoint. Breakpoint is the point from where the debugging will start. So let's put a breakpoint first. Let it be on the 9th line. Double click on the blue strip and you will get a breakpoint. So when you will put a breakpoint, that is a dot symbol on the blue strip, and then you can see the breakpoint at the breakpoint window. Here is a variable window. It will show you the variables which we will be using in our program. So right now it's empty because we haven't started the execution yet. So let's start the debugging by clicking on the debug button. See, we have started the debugging. The green line is the initiation of our debugging. That is our breakpoint. Till now what we have got in variable is a object scanner. That means an object of scanner class has been created. So what we need to do is press F6. It will come to the next line. So our first line is printed. It's asking me about the age. Let's give the right age first, 30. Press enter. Then press F6. F6 is used to execute the program step by step in the debugger view. So what happened now is it checked the age. We have got the age equal to 30. That means 30 is equal to 30. Equal to sign here is our relational operator. So equal to sign here is used to compare the values LHS equal to RHS. If both the conditions are met, then it will enter the block of code and execute those statements. So the condition was met for right now. So what it did is it entered the block of code. Now it will print the statement and exit the block of code, and then it will move on to the next statement. that is our thanks Tom for your input. This is how you can use the debug view. I have taken example of an easy program so that you understand the basic of if condition. Now let's move on with the if else condition. So what is an if else control statement? If statement executes the block of code only if the specified condition was true. If false, it will execute the statement in else block. That means if the boolean expression in the if statement is met, it will execute the statement in that block. If it is not met, it will execute the statement in the else block. Let's have a practical example and see it for ourselves. So for if else condition, let's take the input from Julie. What I have done till now is I have just copy pasted the same thing and commented the old one. I have given a statement to ask Julie about her age. Same way, I have taken an input at runtime from Julie. As I know both of them, they are of same age. So if Julie is telling the truth that she is 30 years old, then it will give the output as Julie is telling her right age. Else, it will print a statement that no Julie, you are a liar. So let's execute the command. Say down in the console window you can see it's asking for the age. So Julie enters her wrong age first, 25. See, it has given an output as no Julie, you are a liar. And afterwards, it is a default statement that will be printed in a sequence. So let's execute the command and see the output first. Say it's asking me for the age. Julie enters 22. Obviously she will enter 22. Press enter. No Julie, you are a liar. Thanks Julie for your input. That means, so if you go in the debug view, click on debugger, press F6. It's asking me about the age. So what I need to do is I will enter 22. Press enter. F6. See, it has compared the value age 22 which is not equal to 30. So it will exit the block of code of if and it will enter the block of code of else, and it will then print the code in else part, and then it will follow the sequential statements. So we will get our last line as output too. So this will be all for if and if else statement. We will be continuing our previous topic, that is of decision making statements, with nested if else. So let's have a look at the nested if else first. So our definition says if the condition 1 is true, then it will execute the statement in our condition 1 part. If it is false, it will look for another if condition in else part. So if condition 2 is true, it will execute the condition 2. If false, it will look for the another condition in else part. If none of the condition was true above, it will execute the last one, that is our else part. So let's see it practically. Go to your package explorer, create a program. I have created mine. Again, I will be using the scanner class to take the input from user, that is you, so that you will learn how to take input and you can check the output at your runtime. So let's take an input. Create a object first, given a statement to take the input, take an integer variable. Now you know how to write, so write it by yourself. So now what we have to do is we have to use nesting of if else. So let's create some of the code. So see, what I have done till now is I have taken an input from user in a variable value. So in nested if else, I will be comparing the value in each of the conditions. So my first condition is if value is equal to 10, it will print the output as you have entered 10. This is the format to write else if you are using nesting of if else. So else if value is equal to 20, that means if the value is 20, it will print this output. If no condition is true, it will execute the else part. That means you have entered garbage value. And then when the else part is over, I have given a sequential statement to print the value. So let's execute the command and see the output first. As I have given only two if conditions, so I have mentioned for the user that you should enter either 10 or 20. So let's check it out first with the 20. Enter 20. See, we have got the output as you have entered 20. Thank you for entering the value 20. There is one more small point I would like to mention in this is that as you can see, while writing if condition, I have used a bracket opening and a bracket closing. But while writing else condition, I haven't used any bracket opening or bracket closing. This doesn't mean that you don't have to write bracket opening or bracket closing. It is a compulsion, but if you are writing a single block of code, it is not a compulsion to use the brackets. You can remove the brackets from here too. It will work the same way as it was working before. You can check it out by executing the command again. Let's enter 30. See, it has given me the desired output that you have entered a garbage value, which is in the else part. Thank you for entering the value. So I have copy pasted the same line and changed the output to you are out of control statement. So when I will execute the command, so will it come under else part or will it come under the sequential flow? Let's execute the command and see. See, what we have got output as a you have entered 10. Then another output as you are out of control statement. That means if you have not written the block of code, it will consider only the next statement as to be in the else part. You have to mention a block if you are writing more than one line, and it's a good practice to write everything in a block of code. So this will be all about the nesting of if else. if else statement and if statement. And all of these example I have taken was of the integer data type. You can go on with the byte, short, int, long, it doesn't matter, it will work the same way. So in our next example, I will be telling you how to use the string variable and how to compare the values in a if condition using a string variable. So let's create a new file. Let's just take our input as string. See, what I have done here is I have taken a name Tom and have compared the variable with the name Tom. Okay, so both are the same. So I should get an output of correct name. Let's execute the command. See, I have got an output of correct name. Now let's check out the same example where you will be giving the input and we will see if we are getting the same output or not. So let's take an input. Let's take the same name2 variable and we will take input as object scanner dot next. Next was our function in the scanner class that was to take the next token as an input as a string. So what we have done is we have taken the input. Now let's just mention the condition. Let's copy paste the same thing. I will be comparing the variable 2. So name2 is equal to this. So let's just execute the command and see the output. See, in our first part, that was in this part, we have got the output as correct name because we have written name as Tom and compared Tom to Tom and we have got the same output as correct name. So in our second section, what we are getting is it's asking me for the name. So let's write Tom again. As you can see in the console window, I have written the Tom in the same way as in the if condition. But what will happen if I press the enter key? See, it has given me the output as wrong name. No matter how many times you execute the program, it will give you the output as wrong name. So what you need to do is, you have to remove that equal to sign with the equals function. Equal function comes with a bracket sign, bracket. In between that, you have to mention your value. That is our Tom. So now you execute the command, enter a name that is Tom and press enter. Then you will get the output as correct name. So remember, while comparing the string variable, when you are taking user input, you have to use the equal to function. So you might be wondering now, why I have got the correct output in the first part, that is with the equal to sign, and why I have to use the equal function of the string class to get the correct output in the second part. So to know that, you have to check this out. See, those operator compared two value to see if they refer to the same object. That means we were giving the input at the coding time and we were comparing the same value at our runtime. So it has not given me any error. So what you need to do is, you have to use the string variable dot equals function of the string class, and in between that you have to mention your value. By this method, it will compare the values, actual values, not the references. In the previous one, it was first looking for the references. So that's the basic difference between equal to sign and the dot equals function while you are using the string variable. So I think this will be all for the decision making statement, including your if statement, if else and nesting of if else. I have told you the example using the integer value and using the string value. If you have any doubt apart from this, you can ask me in the comment section. I will be happy to help you out. We will learn about logical operators. So basically, logical operators are used when you have to evaluate two or more Boolean expressions simultaneously in a condition. In that case, we use logical operators. A logical operator can be of three types. The first one is the logical AND operator, the second one is logical OR operator, and the third one is logical NOT operator. Suppose you have two operands A and B, or suppose you have two expressions. If both the expressions are true, that means if both the operands are non-zero, then the condition is true and then you will get the true output. But in the case of logical OR operator, if any of the two operands are non-zero, that means if you have given two conditions, one is true and another is false, then also you will get the output as true. Logical NOT operator, it negates your expression. So to make it more clear, just remember it like this. It will make your false statement true and it will make your true statement false. So let's take a simple example and understand the meaning of all the logical operators. Go to your Eclipse, create a program. I have created mine. Let's take three variables. Let's give them some values. So let's compare those values. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C. See, we have made a simple program using the nesting of if else. So what I have done here is, I have compared the value of A to B and then A to C. So let's execute the command and see the output first. As you can see in the console window, I am getting A is greatest. that means A has the greater value. Obviously A is greater because the value of A is 1000. So what happened over here is, it will first compare the value of A with B. If it is greater, then it will compare the value of A with C. If it is true, that means both the conditions are met. Then it will enter the block of code and will print this statement. If any of the condition is false, then it will not enter the block of code. Now suppose it like this. Suppose I have taken the value of A to be 200, and then when I compared the value of A to B, it is false. So in this case, it will not check for A is greater than C. Our first condition is false, so it will not go further and check A greater than C. It will just exit this block of code and check for the second condition. If B is greater than C, yes, B is greater than C, it will print the value of B. Let's execute the command and see the output. See, we have got the output as B is greater. This is how you can use the logical AND operator. Now I have changed the AND operator to OR operator. So now what will be the output? Will it be B is greater or will it be C is greater? Again we are getting B is greater, because when it checked the first condition, it is false. But when it checks the second condition, it is false again. So it enters the second block of code, that is else if. But what will happen if I will change the value of A to be 400? So now A is greater than C. Let's check the output. Let's execute the command now. See, we have got the output as A is greatest. So what happened here is that if any of the condition, that is if A is greater than B is true or A is greater than C is true, if any of these two conditions is true, it will enter this block of code. If both of them are true, then too it will enter this block of code. If any of them is true, then too it will enter this block of code. If both the condition is false, then it will exit this block of code and will check for the rest of the conditions. So this is how you can use the logical OR operator. So now let's check the logical NOT operator. Let's comment this statement first. Go to source, add block comment. Now suppose I am again comparing A to B. I have made the program to compare A to B. Let's print the output first. Execute the command. See, we are getting B is greater, which is actually correct because the value of B is 500 and A is 400. But when I have to use the logical NOT operator, what I will do is I will put the exclamation sign before the condition. So we have the condition in the bracket and I have put the exclamation sign. So what logical NOT operator do is it converts your false output to be true and true output to be false. So let's execute the command now. See, we are getting the output as A is greatest. As you can see, the value of A is 400, which is smaller than the value of B, that is 500, but still we are getting the output as A is greatest. So that will be all for the logical operators.